Some big breaking news coming in. Covaxin now allowed in kids between 2 to 18. A big breakthrough in the vaccine effort, the vaccine drive in India. Kids now to get a vaccine. Covaxin has now been approved for kids between the age of 2 to 18. Remember, there were trials that were going on for quite a while now. In fact, Covaxin, which is already extensively used among adults, has now also been approved for kids between the age group of 2 to 18. Let me quickly cut across to Sneha Murdani for more on that. Sneha, we're looking at Covaxin, Bharat Biotech's India's indigenous vaccine now, which was so far used only among adults. Now it appears to be approved for kids between the age of 2 to 18. Is this the same vaccine that can also be used for kids, or a different variant that's coming in from Bharat Biotech?
No, it's the same vaccine, Abila, and this is a big development given the fact that this involves children in the trials between the age of 2 to 18. So, Bharat Biotech essentially has got market authorization for emergency use for the vaccine in the age group of 2 to 18, which means children as young as 2 will be now able to get the benefits of having some protection against COVID-19 in the form of India's indigenous vaccine, which again is a 2-dose vaccine right now. I'm just going to read out from what my sources have in fact told us. This is, and I'm going to the details of this. The firm, of course, has presented its proposal for grant of market authorization for years 2 to 18 for restricted use in emergency situations and presented the interim safety and immunogenicity data. The committee noted that the interim safety data of the trial was reviewed. The overall GMP for the pediatric population is comparable, which means that the efficacy levels is comparable with that of the adult population, and hence the approval has come for this important vaccine that really is required. While experts world over have really argued that it may or may not be needed in kids, but right now in India the consensus is that it is needed for children as well, and that's the reason why Bharat Biotech, which had been carrying out trials.
Right, Sneha, we'd of course like to know a little more on the approvals of it. Who has approved this vaccine for kids, and what about the WHO? Has the WHO recognized Covaxin as yet for emergency use across the globe and also for kids now?
I just want to quickly make that distinction before our viewers. The approval for Covaxin in kids has come in from the Subject Expert Committee, which has recommended an approval for the vaccine for children between the age of 2 to 18. The recommendation will go to the Drugs Comptroller General of India, which will further give its nod, which usually is the case, for a green signal for the vaccine to be used. The WHO approval for the vaccine, for Covaxin, which is the emergency use listing, is actually for Covaxin above the age of 18. And that approval has not come in just yet. So there is a big difference in this. In fact, Bharat Biotech has not even sought an approval from the WHO for vaccines for kids below the age of 18. Bharat Biotech has moved the World Health Organization seeking emergency use listing for Covaxin to be used in population above the age of 18. This approval has come in from the Subject Expert Committee of the Drugs Comptroller General of India to give an approval for the vaccine for kids between the age of 2 to 18. Technically, this is the second vaccine that has been approved in India for use in children. Adolescents, of course, have the vaccine Zycov-D, which is Zydus Cadilac's vaccine, to be used in children above the age of 12. But this is a big decision, given that children now above the age of 2 are going to be in a position to use this vaccine, of course, provided parents then choose to then use this vaccine. How is this vaccine then going to be rolled out? Again, is there going to be, identification of the priority group, even in children between the age of 2 to 18, those with comorbidities will be given the vaccine first. All of that is going to be worked out eventually by the government. But the big development is that in India, we have a vaccine, which is the indigenous vaccine, and that has got the approval for use in children between the ages of 2 to 18. The Subject Expert Committee of the Drugs Comptroller General of India, the DCGI's office, has made this recommendation, and hence the approval finally is going to be coming in from the DCGI. But the subject expert committee has given a green signal, and that's extremely significant.
Well, Sneha, if you can elaborate a little on the doses, where currently Covaxin is given as a 2-dose vaccine for adults. Does that mean also, like you did mention, this is a 2-dose vaccine for kids as well? And a little more on the approvals, exactly the body who has approved Covaxin for kids, and what have they observed when it comes to, of course, the same body has also observed that kids in general have high immunity. Is it necessary or mandatory for vaccinating children in India, or is it just optional for now?
You know, I just want to take you through some details. You rightly asked that because kids are not developing severe infection, so why the need for the vaccine? In India, the government has gone on to say that schools can open even without the vaccine. In the longer run, let us look at giving this vaccine to children. But the fact of the matter is that world over, there is also an opinion that given that these vaccines have not moved the regular way for approval, it is emergency use authorization for these vaccines. Can it wait? That's a different school of thought altogether. Nabila, but I just want to tell you a couple of more things that I have accessed. In fact, the firms should be submitting safety data, including the data of adverse events on an AESI with due analysis every 15 days for the first 2 months and monthly thereafter for studying the risk, essentially, is what the drugs controller or the subject expert committee is saying. Basically, these are the terms and conditions under which the approval has come in. The disclaimer is as follows. The firm should also be submitting risk management plan. How are you going to do it? Also provide updated prescribing information, package insert, summary of product characteristics, and fact sheet of the vaccine and the kind of protocol that needs to be followed while giving out this vaccine. The firm should continue the study as per whole Vivian inactivated COVID virus vaccine, the approved clinical trial protocol, meaning the studies must continue even though the approval has come in for the vaccine. So all this is what I'm reading out is some of the terms and conditions. But by and large, the bottom line really is that the subject expert committee's minutes of the meeting, which I have accessed, goes on to talk about the fact that the committee has recommended for grant of market authorization for of the vaccine for the age group of 2 to 18 for restricted use in emergency situations, subject to the following conditions. So all of this is something that has been told to the told to Bharat Biotech, the company in question, on what all do you need to do. These are the terms and conditions. So they have, of course, taken some amount of precaution when it comes to giving a green signal to the vaccine per se. Remember, this is a huge, I would say, a huge development and also a risk, given that this is not a regular approval. No vaccine in India has got a regular approval for against COVID-19. The vaccine that you and I have got also are the vaccines which have got the emergency use authorization. So it's no different when it comes to children also. You rightly raised this issue. World over also there is a raging debate on whether one should be waiting for the regular approval for vaccines to children, given that they're not severely affected. But in India, the consensus right now is that they're looking at giving out vaccines for the younger population.
Right.
And in this case, the subject expert committee, with these disclaimers that I just pointed out to you, has said, yes, we give you a green signal.
Well, Sneha, of course, this is big news because parents were apprehensive to send their children to school. Of course, schools were worried on how they're going to continue with maintaining social distancing and following COVID-19 protocols, because no matter how much you tell a child not to or to keep distance or wear a mask, one knows a child to be flouting rules. And of course, a very carefree child would really not know how the gravity of COVID-19 as a disease or the pandemic itself. And now it appears parents can